Thomson Reuters, Gates has responsibility over community and educational partnerships for the company's numerous locations. She works with Thomson Reuters team members as well as civic and charitable organizations to develop community engagement strategies that make an impact and build brand awareness. And she has a passion for giving back to the community. Anna is the managing editor of the Dallas Business Journal. She has the responsibility of running and operating the side of the publication's newsroom, including managing and reporting staff and overseeing news coverage. Butler previously served as Business Journal's assistant managing editor and associate editor, a role that included overseeing editorial events. She joined the Business Journal in October 2015 from Austin-based luxury travel publications Andrew Harper. Before that, she worked with a startup cookbook publisher in New York City. These remarkable ladies have very successful careers and are going to help us discover that it's the quality of time that you spend with most valued friends and family that can make a difference in your life. Please welcome Anna Butler and Gabrielle Madison.
Go ahead and get started. So today we're talking about life being a constant state of change, and really to hear about how Gabe has dealt with these types of changes. So I think it would really help us to all understand what these changes have looked like for you, and also how you've dealt with those things.
So first of all, thank you all for coming today. Thank you so much to the Women Leadership Committee and the Richardson Chamber of Commerce for having me. I'm so humbled by this and to see this crowd. This is amazing. So I think what I need to do is kind of tell you all about these changes that occurred to me in a short span of time. In 2.5 months, I was kind of hit with a 1, 2, 3 punch. And the first punch was losing my husband unexpectedly one Sunday morning when we were getting ready for church. He had a fatal heart attack. It was what the doctors referred to as the widowmaker. You never really see it coming. There's not a lot of tests that would help you understand that this was on the horizon. And we were living a healthy, active life. So we never would have thought this was in our course of life, because we were actually in the process of adopting 2 children. We were 5 months into the adoption process, and to lose him at this stage in our lives was just, I just really couldn't believe it. So dealing with that was the worst time of my life. And then the second punch was having to move my dad from Houston to Dallas 2 weeks after my husband had passed. I instantly became my dad's caregiver because he was 70% blind and he had lost his wife 5 months before my husband passed. The plan was already in place for my dad to come to Dallas, but my husband was going to help me take care of him. So now I am a widow, and I am a caregiver to my dad. And then the third punch was in this process of trying to adopt, the agencies that we were working with kind of started making a decision for me that I was not capable to take care of these 2 kids. They didn't really like the concept of me being a traveling, working mom. And so amongst having to deal with the fact that I lost my life partner, having to take care of my dad, now I was in a battle to try to keep these 2 children that were really helping me to get up every morning. They were giving me purpose. They were helping me to say, you know, I'm here for a reason and I need to understand what that is.
So one of those things is a lot to deal with. All 3 of those things, I can't even imagine. How did you personally deal with all of these changes happening at once?
So I definitely am a woman of faith, and I probably up until that moment, had no question about my faith. But when that happens to you, your faith, it gets rocked. So I had to really walk what I've been talking and what I've been saying that I was. And so I had to really refocus myself in this time to understand that things may be happening, but there's going to be options, there's going to be help, there's going to be support, there's going to be a way to get myself back on track. Now I had to tell myself that every single day. I had to wake up. That was the first thing. I had to wake up. And the second thing was just saying, I'm going to get through this day. And some people were telling me, hey, you just need to take it day by day. I was taking it hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute, because to think about the end of the day was way too much. So really, my faith and my support system. I have been very, very blessed to have an amazing support system that had really carried me through this. So I can't really say that I was handling this all on my own, if I'm really honest with myself. I've had a great support system. And I looking back at that time, which is very hard to do it in some cases, but looking back, it was like, man, every day presented a new set of challenges because life kept going. Nothing stopped. I kind of expected the world to stop. Like, y'all see this crisis I'm in? Everybody should just press pause and let's figure this out. But the world kept going. And I had to figure out how I was going to still be in the lane of the highway and not get ran over in the process.
So in these 2.5 months of complete transformation, you took on 3 new roles, which was caregiver, widow, and single parent. I think that we all hear a lot about work-life balance, and there's a lot to be said about it. Did anybody try to give you advice about how to navigate this through a work-life balance lens?
I heard work-life balance, and actually I subscribed to work-life balance. I mean, it was kind of like the buzzwords for the last 10 years, you know, you gotta have work-life balance and you gotta do these things to make sure that, you know, you're not strong on one end and depreciating in another end. And going through that, I kind of have a new concept about work-life balance. I had all types of women, all generations of women giving me advice through this. I mean, I remember my grandmother, she's 85 years old, and she came up when all of this was happening, and she said, now I think that you need to quit your job in order for you to do this. And I'm like, I've never felt more pressure to have a job. So she saw things a whole lot different from what I saw. Then I had this, you know, expectation that from my job, of course, you know, when you're coming back to work. And I was like, I don't know if I can put in 8 hours towards something else when I have all this going on at home. And I would say, thankfully, I work for, I feel like, the most amazing company because they worked with me throughout this whole time to accommodate for all of this. Everything from, I used to travel every other week to another location within the company, and they just said, hey, we're gonna figure this out, we're gonna take you off the road, we can figure this out. We are a technology company, we should be able to see how we can make amends for this. They worked with me on my schedule, they worked with me on things at home, so I was very blessed in that. But this work-life balance, I felt so much pressure. I felt pressure from family, I felt pressure from friends, I felt pressure from my children, and I couldn't wrap my head around how can I please all of these entities, these roles, these hats that I wear, how can I fulfill all these hats? And so she she is going to be so upset that I'm mentioning this, but my mom's here, and she had no idea she was going to be a part of my speaking engagement story today. But her and I'm very, very fortunate that I was raised by a single mom. I never wanted to be a single mom because I saw what my mom went through. She is the most brave woman that I've ever known. I've seen her tackle some pretty big beasts. We grew up in a town that was racially divided, and I just admire the fact that my mom never allowed fear to creep in our house. She showed us how to be brave, how to stand up, but she also was an amazing educator. She took in everybody, and the courage and the no fear attitude that she had just helped me to navigate my current road. And one day we were having this vibrant conversation about how much I work. And she was like, you just work too much. You need to really think about, giving back to your kids, and you're not here a lot. And I said, Mom, one of the things that I realized is I'm not able to be all things to everybody. And I've been very blessed and very fortunate to have in my life these amazing people who have strong sets and skill sets that I don't have. And for me, God whispered to me and said, utilize them. And so my mom she had the perception and the expectation that I was to be very involved with my kids' day-to-day homework. And I was like, I can't, like that. I can't understand second grade math, and that sounds horrible, but I can't. But here my mom is a 30-year educator who has an amazing way of working with my children and many other children. And I said, God bless me to have you to be able to do that, to take that on, because I cannot. And I started realizing that there were so many other people He had placed in my life to take on the areas that I really didn't have a strong suit in. And so I started really realizing I don't have to be like the expert in all of these hats that I'm wearing. I really have to go to the people who are the expert and depend on them to help me, show me, encourage me to be the best that I can be in the role, but also lean to their expertise. And that was kind of our come to Jesus moment, I think. We really realized that our role, we were meant to play different roles. I wasn't going to be the single parent that she was. And I was going to do things a little bit different, and she respected that, and it changed the way we viewed how we were going to raise these kids, because she is day in, day out helping me to raise these children, so I appreciate that.
Well, since you decided to go rogue and talk about your mom, I'm going to talk about you for a few seconds. I hope that y'all get the chance to actually meet Gabe, because I've known her for about 3 years, and she's someone that I met her through work. So I was interviewing her for our 40 Under 40 awards, and we just hit it off, and I was like, she has so much joy. Where does she get that from? She's exceptionally kind to anybody that she encounters, and she has the most infectious laugh you've ever heard. But in that, it
who is here, and we've been talking about when somebody says, we have 3 things that we want to show you on how to do this. Sometimes they only say 2, and we're like, what happened to the 3rd one? Or PowerPoint slide that doesn't include everything, and we're like, what? So hold me to task, everybody, on the 3. So the first thing that I will say, and I have to go off my notes so I can make sure that I keep to the 3, especially us as women, and I'm sorry for the men in the room, but as women, we add a lot of stress and burden to ourselves when we feel like we have to fulfill all these roles. We have to kind of give ourselves a pass. I mean, to be honest, I think we're the only ones that are keeping ourselves in this expectation. Other people, I don't think, are really tasking us to do that. So we've got to allow ourselves not to take on that stress and that burden of it, because after a period of time, it will be like the noose around your neck, and you will start to regret the roles that you're playing. And I think all of us value the roles that we're playing, and we don't want to regret them, but we've got to figure out how do we give ourselves a pass? How do we go to the others that are experts in this? And another thing about that is we have a lot of responsibilities and a very small amount of capacity in most cases. So either we need to decrease the responsibilities or increase the capacity. And I think most of us would say, hey, how do I just increase that capacity? Because I don't want to get rid of these responsibilities. And that goes into the second thing, as far as the tip is, to increase your capacity, you really need to look at these other people in your circle that have a passion for some of these things that you want to still pursue, those responsibilities that you still want to carry. Look at these other people in your circle, or really try to seek them out to help you in this. I said before, I have an amazing support system, and I would say that they are really carrying me throughout this journey. And what that has done has allowed my relationships with my circle to increase, because I'm allowing them in. I'm allowing them to take on some of this responsibility, and for some reason we have gotten away from our community and our circle and getting together and having these what I call gatherings, and allowing people to come into your life and help you allows for them to gather with you, which is therapeutic in itself, and it allows them to serve the purpose that they're supposed to. Somebody told me, I was saying, no, I don't need your help, I got this. And they were saying to me, if you don't let me do this, you're actually blocking my blessing. I was like, wow. Oh, I didn't know I was doing damage and not allowing you to do that. And so when I heard that, I actually started thinking, man, it's not just about me. This is actually, in a way, an ability to help somebody else. So please allow people to help you. Allow them to be in your life. Allow them to help shoulder some of these responsibilities and burdens that you have. And the third thing I will say is getting into a rhythm. Now, as I'm telling you this, I'm telling myself this. I live a pretty chaotic life. But my coordinator is here. She can attest to that. I live a pretty crazy life. But I'm really trying to get in more of a rhythm. When you're in this rhythm, you understand more about what you can take on and what you can't take on. You understand more about your priorities, and you understand when moments happen, how to keep that rhythm and how that rhythm will help you to keep going. You all, life is going to happen, and life is full of change. This is by far not what I would love to be speaking to you about today, the things that have happened, but it happened. And what I feel my purpose is to help others in how you respond to these changes. We're gonna lose loved ones. We're gonna have some type of tragedy. Nobody is exempt from it. But it's how you respond. It's how you get up that's going to help not just yourself, but others around you. And that's what we're here to do. We're not an island. We're here to help. We're here to make things better in this world, in this earth. And that's what I had to understand as I was trying to get up from that 1, 2, 3 punch. How do I keep going? How do I not let the changes in life keep me down? And I know there are more changes coming. I know that there is going to be something else, but now that I've learned how to get up, now that I've learned how to utilize the help of others, I think when the next tragedy, the next change comes, I'll know how to respond.
Well, we do have a little bit of time for Q&A. If y'all want to talk to Gabe about anything that you heard from her or her story, or really about what she's doing right now, which is always fascinating to me. So if y'all had any questions or wanted any more advice, I mean, this is a great mentor right here in the room. Popcorn. How old are your kids now?
My kids are 9 and 5. When we first got them, they were 5 and, oh my goodness, he was actually 1. My son was 1, and in 3 days he was going to turn 2. So in a very short amount of time, we had to do a birthday party, and we also had to enroll my daughter in kindergarten. So it was very, very fast-paced, which is actually how we like it most of the time.
Do you work with like younger girls for mentoring, or have you thought about that in your future?
Yes, so I am very, very passionate about getting girls into STEM. So I work with Spence Middle School, which is off of 75 and Haskell. It's a Title I school. And I work with North Dallas High School through the P-TECH program. Thomson Reuters is just an amazing company that supports STEM education and supports helping families to find. So we see this as a double impact. Spence Middle School has 90% of the population in poverty. This past year, we did a couple of things with them through the help of SciTech Discovery Center, which Laura Karen is here. We were able to do this program called Girl Powered, and this program took 16 girls that most likely would not have exposure to STEM education or STEM opportunities, and we took them through a 6-week course that really introduced them to robotics, to programming, and they absolutely loved it. And then the reason why we partnered with Spence is because they're the feeder school into North Dallas High School. The other thing that we did with them, we just happened to be there the day that they were trying to coordinate a food pantry at the school. And I was like, a food pantry at the school? And they're like, yeah, because a lot of our kids, they go home on the weekends and they have no food. And some of them have no adult supervision. So we need to get food that they can easily prepare for themselves and their siblings. And so we're trying to create a food pantry. And so I went back to my office as I usually do, and I'm like, yep, we're gonna start this food pantry with them. For the next 6 weeks, Thomson Reuters gave a delivery every Friday of over 600 items for the food pantry, and it was amazing. So a long-winded answer, yes. Yes.
Working with a public agency may not be thinking that what you were about to plan for kids was the best idea. What did you do to increase their faith in the fact that you are the first parent for those children? What did you do?
Well, funny because I think I went a lot overboard. My husband's first cousin, on the day that my husband passed, he drove up from Louisiana, and he's a man of very few words. And he said to me, as he was walking out, "These children are going to save your life." I was like, what? And I can't believe I remember that and the cloud of everything that was happening that day, but I know why, because that's what they were doing, was every day saving my life. And so I had to hire me a lawyer. And we were very fortunate that the lawyer was very open to showcasing the support system. So on the day that we went to court, over 100 people went to court with me, wearing shirts that had the picture of me, my husband, and the kids on there. And the judge was like, "I've never seen anything like this." And we wanted to show them, I'm not raising these kids by myself. All of these people are going to help me to do that. So that's how we did it.
I think a lot of times, talking about letting go of responsibility, personally for me is very difficult. I have a lot of challenges I face in my life that cause fear, uncertainty. I have a hard time trusting people to do things. Can you maybe talk a little bit about how you are able to let go of some of those fears and trust other people in your support team? I mean, something kind of dealing in my law practice, we are dealing with women going through divorces and they have a lot of fears, and it's hard for them to, trust us to be a support system, and how maybe overcome that and your challenges.
Yep, I have these same challenges on trusting. I think the best thing that I've been able to do is tell myself what's the worst that can happen. Because I let them take it, and then maybe I have to take it back because they weren't able to do it. But I would never know that. I would never understand that if I just didn't give it a chance. Now the other part is I kind of look at people's lives and I kind of see, are you able to do this? Have you shown some type of track record of being able to do this? For a large part, my trust factor comes with finances. I don't trust a lot of people with my finances. And then being able to trust people with my children. Like, I'm extremely protective of my children because of what they went through. So I have to be able to vet out that, you have their best interest, you have my best interest in place before I can allow you into this circle. And it's watching how people are. I mean, it's understanding and helping them to understand my story. Sometimes I've had to say no to people because they don't understand that my daughter, who at 5 years old, had been to 4 other places to live. So we were her 5th home. I can't allow her to just go with anybody. I can't allow her to just be exposed to anything. I have to be very, very mindful of what she sees and what she hears because that triggers different emotions. But everybody doesn't understand that. And some advice I was given, which really helped me, was, because I am a people pleaser, by the way, so part of that it comes like this whole thing, I don't want them to think ill of me, but I have to say no on behalf of my daughter when she can't say no. And so I had to understand that there are cases that I'm going to have to be the voice that she can't be, but then I also have to understand I can't do this by myself, and she needs other people around. She needs other women around to show her how to be at her best. So I would say to your clients, yes, you've probably been hurt. You've probably been knocked down in that 1, 2, 3 punch. But you can get up, and there are others out there that want to help you get up. And I think that's the hard thing to believe during those times is everybody's out to get you or everybody, you know, is against you, when that's not the case. There are so many people that are out there wanting to help.